What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Alright, so this is our WandaVision episode 1 and 2 review here on Rants. How do I put it? I am indifferent on this show. I am indifferent. I'm usually this type of person. I'm usually the type of person that if I'm indifferent with something, the first episode or the first go around of watching the movie, I usually will watch it a couple times and I'll kind of lean one way or the other way. Just naturally how I am with things. I'm usually never in between. But I've watched both these episodes 3 times each. And I really don't hate it, nor do I love it at the same time. And watching the reactions to it, I realized that there's 2 groups of people that are watching this and their views on it. One is the Marvel fan, probably a comic book fan, probably a huge fan of the MCU, knows a lot about these individual characters in the comics and in the MCU. These type of people have a lot of trust in Marvel because of what they've seen for the last decade of the MCU. And, you know, I feel like Marvel's deserves that reputation. You know, there's people that love the Marvel movies. Then there's people that are indifferent towards them. But few people just hate them. Like, there's just few movies that involve the MCU that people just are like, I hate that movie. You know, you never hear that hardly with Marvel. Like, I mean, I was trying to think of one time that someone's ever like, oh man, this movie just sucked terribly. Like, I hear that a lot with DC movies. But I do not hear that about Marvel movies usually. So the MCU has helped Marvel gain a reputation that is well deserved with a lot of fans. So I understand why fans feel that way. But because of the loyalty and the high belief that in Marvel, I believe that those fans will look at this and go, there's going to be payoffs down the road. Yeah, it starts off slow, but there's going to be huge payoffs down the road. Or maybe there's some things that we've missed and, you know, we'll catch on to it a little later on. There's that belief that Marvel will turn this around. Even if they didn't enjoy the first 2 episodes, they'll be like, of course we're going to give it a try. We're going to keep going with it. Just because of that one reason. And then I kind of feel like there's a second group of people. Type of people that probably aren't big comic book fans. They might have watched some of the MCU movies, but you know, don't know them very well. Let's just say that they're at a beginner level when it comes to those characters. They're probably watching this show and they're like, it's trying to be mysterious and intriguing, but it's just not really hitting either one of those marks for me. And I get that too. I do get that too, because I was thinking when I was watching this, I'm like, there's supposed to be something here, some kind of mysterious element that's going on here. But I'm just not really getting that feel. I'm not getting that vibe. Like, yeah, they tried to add some things in here and there, especially in episode 2. But I didn't really feel like it was enough for me to care about it. Like, you know, the best example I could say is Lost. You know, Lost would throw some things in each episode that would kind of make you come back for more. I don't think that the average fan of not the huge MCU fans will probably look at this and be like, I gave it 2 episodes, probably not going to give it any more. That's my take. I mean, that's how I think a lot of people are feeling that are in that bubble. I kind of fit in between. With this. Another one is you know, people that are, you know, comic book readers and again fans of the MCU. They put all this stuff in context. They're adding, okay, this comic book kind of had a little bit of this, and this comic book kind of had a little bit of this, and then we're kind of using that as a reasoning for what they're seeing on screen. So they're probably looking at this, and they're probably putting this piece together and that piece together, and they're probably connecting the dot, whether it's fits or not. They're probably putting it in that range, like they're probably putting it together like a puzzle. But the second person would probably look at this and go, Scarlet Witch was powerful, but let's face it, she wasn't set up to be reality bending as she was in the comics in the MCU. She just wasn't. The most heroic hero was supposed to have been Captain Marvel. The strongest hero was supposed to be Captain Marvel. That's how the MCU set it up. I'm strictly speaking about the MCU, not about the comics, but the MCU. That's how they made it sound. When that beeper went off and she came she came back, she was the one that was going to save us all. That was how that was supposed to play out. And I think when Captain Marvel came out, I think they probably looked at it and go, whoa, we made her so overpowerful. Like we made her so powerful that we can't do that. We've got to lessen her powers. So that's what you saw when she presented herself to the Avengers and when she took on Thanos. Is you saw a really less powered Captain Marvel compared to what she was in her own movie. Now I have a lot of problems with Captain Marvel, as y'all probably know if y'all have watched this channel before. Y'all know I have a lot of problems, not because of the movie itself, and not necessarily because of Brie Larson, but because of where that movie was located. You know, we had spent the first 10 years, you know, waiting for these Avengers movies and, you know, the culmination of it and seeing, you know, how they're growing and so forth and how them coming together was going to change everything. And then right before the big fight with Thanos, then Captain Marvel movie comes out and we're like, well, so I guess all of that 10 years was completely and totally useless because we have a Superman-like character that can just go in there and single-handedly win the day for us. That's how I took Captain Marvel. And that's how I still take Captain Marvel. But I think that they screwed up with that, but that's a completely different story. Another thing, the sword insignias that kept popping up, and the one on the helicopter, the one on the beekeeper. The average fan will look at that and go, I don't really get that. Like they'll think it's something that it's probably not. Like they're not gonna tie it in with really anything because they don't get they don't recognize that. Because while sword was introduced, it wasn't like Shield. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't like that. It was a different version of it, but it wasn't put out there like what Shield was. So the average person probably is looking at that and been like, I don't get it. Now, someone that reads the comics, someone that is an MCU fan, they're probably looking at that and they're like, I get it. We get it. Those are probably agents trying to break in and that's what the helicopter is. And that is, maybe trying to break into a force field and trying to find out what's going on with her. And then you add that to the whole, the voices on the radio and all these other different things. And you start getting the idea that, okay, that is Sword agents trying to get in there and trying to help Wanda. But, like I was saying, the comic book readers, there are ones that are huge MCU fans. They're looking at that and they're like, we get it. We get that totally. But your average person didn't get it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't get it at first. After a few times, I was like, oh, I get that now. I got the reference. I was thinking, well, that's not really enough to really push me forward with this show. But, once I kind of got the references, I was like, okay, I get that now. Let me just put this in context. This show needs context. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. This show needs context. There needed, before it started off, there needed to be something in the Marvel world that we know and understand, some kind of explosion or an event, something that that we need to see before that starts. Instead, they just kind of threw us in there and just told us to go along for the ride. Well, I would say this. There wasn't enough to go along for the ride. You maybe had 50 minutes worth of just your average 1950 series, and then you maybe, had 10 minutes or less of maybe things that made you go, that's going to be something later on. Like I said, the helicopter, I was like, first time I saw that, I was like, I don't get it. Is it because it's in color? But no, I kind of got it by the end of the second episode, a little bit more, but I just didn't feel like there was enough intrigue, and there wasn't great dialogue between the characters. It was just your typical 1950s show. And look, we can all watch like Nick at Night. We can watch those, or TV Land, or whatever. We can watch those shows and we can turn our brains off for a little bit and enjoy those shows for what they were, for the age that they were. But for someone that's used to a Marvel movie, we're sitting there looking at this and going, that's cheesy and that's really stupid. Like why are they going in this direction? We're, as a modern viewer, if you're watching an old show, you're going to turn your brain off and you're going to be like, I'm not going to think about that. Yes, the dialogue's bad. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, that would never happen in a million years. These antics and different things along those lines. But we'll let that pass because it's just good fun. But your average viewer, when it comes to, or your modern viewer, when it comes to that, it's probably going to be like, that was cheesy. That was stupid. What is this? Like, what is this? This isn't the MCU that we know. This is nothing. This isn't the Vision or the Scarlet Witch that we know. This is something so completely different. And they might not like it. I'll be honest with you. The first episode, I turned my brain off because it was almost kind of like I got lost in the idea that, okay, they are going 110% into this 1950s sitcom. And so I was like, I kind of fell into it a little bit because I was like, I turned my brain off, and I enjoyed kind of some of the cheesy comments that they made and the activities that went around in there. The only questions that I actually had that about both these episodes was, why when the boss asked them about the children, why did that cause her to pause? And why did that cause everything to go into repeat to a certain extent? And it's like she froze him for a second while the boss is choking. And finally she just says real calmly, Vision, help him. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's like, that's when you get the idea that this really isn't the way it's meant to be. That she's controlling everything, and that when her brain stopped for that one moment with the children thing, she she paused, and when she paused, everything else just kind of repeated. So that's why she had to go get Vision to go and save the man, because she's ordering him at that point, because she's controlling everything that's going on in that world. So, like, that's what I got out of it. But the children thing, though, I think it's Mephisto or something like that in the comic books that somehow is responsible for her children. And then they're kind of X-Men like characters, and that's going to be the next tie-in to the X-Men coming into the Marvel world. So that's what I got out of that was, okay, this show is more about these children than it is actually Wanda and Vision. That's the way I got out of it, at least. The next one is the beekeeper. There's a part of me that when he was climbing out of the sewer, and of course, he had that shield logo on, but there was a part of me that when he was climbing out of that sewer and he had all those bees and stuff going around him, I thought right off the bat, I was like, wait a second. That reminds me of, I think it was Beelzebub. I think in like paintings and things like that, where he's like kind of something about flies or something along those lines. So I thought, okay, this guy climbing out of the sewers and then being surrounded by all those flies, I was like, is that a reference to Mephisto? Like, I didn't know that. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, he had that shield thing on. But whatever it was that brings me to another one, semi-question, I guess you could say, is when she saw that guy, that beekeeper climbing out of the sewers, she went and she was like, rewind, basically. So, I mean, that's just another instance where you kind of get the idea of she's actually in control of this world. But it makes it even more confusing because she asks herself, okay, how did we get here? All of these things. Sometimes she seems like she's in such control of the situation. Then other times she acts like she doesn't even know how she's there. Take the instance when they're doing the magic show. Vision showing his true powers. She goes and she's like, I gotta make it fit with the scenario that we're in. So she was changing it for that. Not because she was trying to get the people to fall for it, but because she was trying to make it fit with the world that she had created. That's my view on that. And he was breaking through her world and bringing out who he really actually was in real life. And that wasn't working for her. I thought it was weird too when everybody started chanting everything over. Like it was like she was in such control that she just had everybody just speaking in these in the same pattern and in the same way, same words. She had this way about her that she was just like it just, I don't know, it just made me think, okay, are these people real, or are these people that's been caught in her illusion? I'm sensing that these are people that's probably caught in her illusion. I'm saying that because there was, I don't know, that blonde haired woman that was kind of a horrible person, the person she was supposed to impress to fit in the neighborhood. There was that moment where when Wanda heard that, when she heard that voice on the radio, she kind of paused for a second, and that woman was able to kind of free herself from that spell and was like, "Oh, what's going on? Who are you?" You know, those kind of situations like that. So I mean, there was some things that kind of come out about that. I'm getting a sense, and this is just me, that she's basically lost her mind. She's basically, in some form, she's so sad about Vision's death that she has bent reality in itself and either intentionally or inadvertently captured the people in the radius of whatever she has created. And that's how those people are there. And to me, she is posing as the protagonist while actually being the antagonist of this series. I think that's how it's going to play out. I look at it as she's basically captured these people, and she isn't going to let them go, because if she lets them go, then she has to let Vision go. It's almost kind of like in Wonder Woman 1984, when, you know, Wonder Woman has to go and stop all these wishes from taking place, but if she does, you know, she loses the love of her life. So then she has to make that sacrifice. Well, I think Wanda's going to have to do the exact same thing in this one. She's going to either go off the deep end and have to be stopped, or either to save these people, or maybe even to save the world, or she's going to realize, I got to let him go. And that's going to be heartbreaking when that happens. That's going to be heartbreaking. And that's, I don't know, as weird and kind of messed up as it is, I'm looking forward to those moments, because those would be a really touching and powerful scenes if that does happen in that way. So I'm hoping it goes that direction. Overall, I mean, I thought Agnes and Wanda were amazing in both these episodes. To me, Vision was too 1950s for me. I just didn't get into his character. His character was really cheesy to me. I just didn't like anything about it. Yeah, he was kind of funny when he was kind of the magician and kind of drunk after the gum incident. But other than that, like, he didn't have anything that really excited me about his character. Overall, like I said, didn't enjoy the laugh track. I thought that part sucked. They could have left without it. The dialogue wasn't great, even though it was a supposed to fit into that 1950s kind of situation. There were some funny moments. There were some funny moments when the boss's wife, when she knocks on the lobster that had been thrown out by Scarlet Witch, when that was basically plastered on the door. That was a funny moment. I actually did laugh. There was some moments when Vision, when he was kind of drunk off the gum, that actually was kind of funny. I mean, so there was some really good parts about this show. But overall, I feel like this show brings up a very good question that needs to be explored by streaming companies. Should the episodes be released all at once, or should they be released weekly? I feel like these two episodes weren't enough for me to, if I'm just your average person, I knew absolutely nothing about the MCU, these two episodes wouldn't be enough for me to be like, I'm tuning in next week. Like they wouldn't be. Now, if I could binge watch it, I'd be like, okay, I didn't get the first two episodes. That kind of bored me. They were real slow. But I'm going to binge watch this. I could get it then. I could really get into it then. I've had slow seasons of shows that I got into, about halfway through. Well, that's kind of the way I feel like this would have benefited from. But overall, I don't know, guys. That's that is a question I do want to do a whole video over. Is about which would be better, if it should be, if these WandaVision or any of these shows should be all, put them all out there at once, or should we stick with the old system where they come out weekly? I don't know. I don't know which is better. But like I said, that's one episode I want to do in the future. But let me know what y'all thought of WandaVision. Overall, I would give it about a 6 out of 10. Most of my rating comes about because I have faith in the MCU. More than what I saw on screen. Let's just put it that way. It was the faith that I have in the MCU that will keep me continuing watching this show. That's it. That's it. Like nothing about what I saw on screen. If I was just your average fan, would I continue watching it? And that's just the honest truth. But because I know enough about Marvel and what they've done the last 10 years, I'm going to continue watching it. And I think that they're going to make something really interesting out of this. I really do. I really have faith for this show. But let me know what y'all think, guys, down below. As always, thanks for watching. And y'all take care.